We have a warning being issued to Democrats that if you don't keep your promises like fourth federal level $2,000 stimulus checks, $200 per month going out to those on Social Security, child tax credits, wiping out student loan debt, unemployment extensions, all these provisions that were promised by Democrats and a lot of campaigns were actually run and won on these promises, and Bernie Sanders is saying, listen, all of these promises, if you don't keep them, don't expect anybody to vote for you in the upcoming midterm elections this November. You will lose your power. Now, these warnings are being issued today, but he's been doing this for quite some time. Well, let's take a trip down memory lane and look at these headlines from over a year ago. Senator Bernie Sanders says Joe Biden on $2,000 stimulus checks promises must be kept. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont pressured President Biden-elect for $2,000 stimulus checks in a tweet saying, "You had promised to keep your promise." This was over a year ago. Keep in mind, we're Democrats in control of the Senate. We must keep faith with the working families of this country, saying, listen, if you tell the American people something, make sure that you keep good faith with them by following through. He said promises made must be kept, and that means not only $2,000 direct payments, but an aggressive agenda that recognizes the economic desperation facing so many Americans. That's not all. Take a look at these other promises. Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Ed Murkey said $2,000 per month throughout this pandemic crisis. And also here's why Senate Democrats want to give Social Security beneficiaries an extra $200 per month amid this pandemic scare. Now keep in mind that was over a year and in some cases 2 years ago. We're still waiting to see these promises fulfilled. Now take a look at what Bernie Sanders has to say today. Bernie Sanders to Democrats change course before you nosedive in November. The Vermont Independent is not buying the happy talk from the party still talking up a pre-midterm turnaround saying, listen, nobody is buying the whole the economy is good. We're going to turn things around and people are going to see and vote in our favor. He said no, and he has a prescription to avoid it. Take a look, you guys. Bernie Sanders wants to borrow from the GOP playbook saying, listen, if we might want to follow some of the things the Republicans are doing because our strategy right now is not working. Nobody is buying it. The American people aren't stupid. We are failing at this strategy and offers a progressive contract with America, like the one that drove Republicans to victory back in 1994. And take a look, Sanders' GOP has an excellent chance of gaining control of the House and possibly the Senate if they do not change course and they do not keep their promises. We have heard a lot of people say there's those fourth federal level checks. It's been over a year and a lot of people are saying Joe Biden just issues executive orders and actions. As we're hearing, executive orders and actions have been promised by progressives. They're saying that there's going to be a laundry list of them coming once we get through certain pieces of legislation that are taking up priority right now at this time. Now, in addition to that, we've also heard that they are cranking away on stimulus packages, a revised Build Back Better bill that Democrats want to pass through reconciliation, and Joe Biden is saying his own word now. Well, we have a new arrival date, so I give you all the details on that. But that reconciliation bill, it has been stripped of all of the provisions that people want to see. Now we're going to be seeing if they pass anything through and things that are not included, if they do those executive orders and actions to pass them through. So you guys, there's a lot to get you caught up on. We're going to dive right in. I'm going to share with you the warnings being issued by Bernie Sanders, what he had to say, and we're going to see what Congress passes as they want to get something done before these elections. So that way they can persuade and remind voters when they hit the polls to vote in their favor. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So link in the description below these articles that just came out. Bernie Sanders has something to get off of his chest. He says without course correction, he sees the Democratic Party on track to get shell-elect this fall now as progressive Vermonter, not one to mince words. But in an interview on Tuesday, he said you really can't win an election with a bumper sticker that says we can't really do much, but the other side is worse. Now, take a look at this other article gonna give us more details. It says Senator Bernie Sanders told Politico in an interview published on Thursday today that enthusiasm within the Democratic Party is extremely low and warrants a low turnout from the party base this year's midterm elections. Sanders argues that Democrats won't clinch victories in the midterms even after the leak of the draft of the Supreme Court opinion that they would overturn Roe versus Wade, and that the GOP is in opposition to most of the gun control measures following two high-profile mass shootings in May. The Republicans stand an excellent chance to gain control of the House and quite possibly the Senate as well. He told political Democrats face significant headwinds to maintain their the majority in Congress in the midterm elections, a problem that has only been exacerbated by voters concerned over high inflation, and inflation rates have soared to a near 40-year high in the wake of the pandemic, and many Americans are feeling the financial squeeze at the gas pump and the grocery store. Now, Sanders also reiterated his long-publicized concern over the party's handling of the two centrists, Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, who have reportedly opposed large components of the President Biden's top agenda items. Now, after months of negotiating on the Build Back Better agenda last year, Manchin rejected the sweeping package that included climate-related provisions and expansion of the social safety net. So he is bringing that back to the forefront, and he's saying, listen, we've got to make some changes, and we got to change our messaging and our focus right now. There's a lot of things that they're focusing on that they're saying will not persuade voters to vote in their favor in their power. There's a lot of things they're focusing on what are not the priority of the voters. They got to change their messaging and persuade them to vote for them by putting their concerns first, which is the economy, inflation, stimulus. These things are the top priority, and we're hearing that stimulus checks, another round, is actually approved by 80% of the population. They're saying yes, we're dealing with inflation, but just repurpose existing funds that are just sitting there and send out more checks to help our people. Also, 1 out of 3 people approve of the president's performance right now. We're hearing the vast majority of people do not approve of President Joe Biden and the handling of the economy. They're saying something has got to change, because if they do not do something, change something right away, Bernie Sanders is predicting, and a lot of people are saying correctly, that there is going to be a red wave or a Republican takeover in November. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So we will see if Democrats step up and pass more stimulus, more provisions, if they get their act together, change their messaging, and are able to persuade voters in the elections. And we're hearing that all this is going to be picking up in the upcoming days, months. As we get closer, I'll be sure to keep you up to date on everything.